It's time for reading. It's Tuesday and it's time for reading. Yesterday, you started out making your title page, decorating your title page for our new novel study, Love That Dog. I enjoyed getting to see your creativity. They looked great. You also took a poetry survey, which I thought was super fun to see if you like to hear poems or write poems, if you read poetry, if you have ever checked out poetry books from the library. A lot of you didn't mention having much to do with poetry up until now. And so I'm really excited about this new unit because we are going to be talking about all things poetry. And before we do, we need to talk about the vocab involved in poetry elements. So we're going to do that today. You're going to want to have your poetry pocket ready to cut out and glue on that piece of paper, and also have the pages with the strips ready to cut out. So before we do that, let's talk a little bit about some of the elements of poetry. You'll remember earlier in the year when we did the whipping boy, we looked for words, we looked for phrases called similes and metaphors. These are things that compare two things. When we talked about simile, it was a comparison between two things using the words, there were two words you could have used. The words, do you remember? Like and as. That's right. You remembered. Like or as. Similes are fun. They compare two things. And you have a little strip that you're going to put in your pocket once you cut it out today. And it says, she is as cool as a cucumber. When you talk about Miss Brown, you can say, she's as cool as a cucumber. That's me. Yeah, it's two things. We're comparing two things using the word like or as. There was also another word that we used to compare two things. But in this word, we do not use like or as in the comparison. Metaphor. We looked for metaphors in the story of the whipping boy, and we found several. And your example of your strip for metaphor is, the vampire's teeth are razor sharp. Okay? We're comparing teeth to razors. Two things. We compared them, but we didn't use the word like or as. Metaphor is a figure of speech, comparing two things by stating that one thing is the other thing. Teeth, razors. The word metaphor. The next one we're going to talk about is alliteration. And alliteration is really fun. And as we begin writing our own poems, I'm sure that some of you are going to enjoy writing alliteration style. This is a repetition of words that start with the same thing, the same sound, the same beginning sound. You're probably familiar with Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Is that how it goes? Say that 3 times fast. No, I can't do it. Alliteration is where you are beginning with the same sound. So the example on our strip that you're going to cut out is Betty. Okay, I want you to find the strip real fast, and we're going to say this together as fast as we can. Okay, it's a lot of B's. Okay, ready? This is alliteration. We're going to read it together. Here we go. Go. Betty bought butter, but the butter was bitter, so Betty bought better butter to make the bitter better. Oh, the bitter butter better. I was so close. Did you get it? That's tough. All right. Alliteration is a repetition of words with the same beginning sound. That's fun. Okay. Repetition. What is the base word of repetition? You know, it's repeat. Okay? So repeat. We may have repeats in our poetry. And the example they give us here is wait, stop, stop, stop. Okay? The word stop is repeated 3 times on this line. And so we would say it had repetition in it. Very good, very good. What's another? Yes, personification. Personification has a word at the beginning of it. What word's at the beginning? Person, okay? In personification, this is a figure of speech in which objects are given human qualities, okay? Human qualities. So the example that they gave on our strip that we're cutting out for our pocket today is, the sun smiled at me. Now, whoa. Can the sun smile? No, the sun can't smile. But right here, this is an example of personification because we are giving the sun a human-like quality. Smiling. Like the sun has a mouth. Okay? Personification. Another one. Oh, I love this one. I just love how you say it. Onomatopoeia. You don't want that on your spelling test this week, do you? Onomatopoeia. These are words that sound like the objects or actions they refer to. If you have ever watched an old Batman movie, the really old ones, okay, not the new stuff, they used to have words that would fly up when the action started, like bam, boom, clop, click. Okay, these are examples of onomatopoeia words. They're words that have sound to them, okay? So these are words that sound like the objects or actions they refer to. Zip, snap, boom. All of these are examples of onomatopoeia. Awesome. Ooh, I have another one. It got away from me. Hyperbole, okay? Hyperbole, to make something seem larger or more important than it really is. Hyperbole is an exaggeration. Has your dad ever gone fishing and he had a big fish story? Maybe he caught a fish, but by the end of his story, his little fish was really big. Exaggeration, okay? Hyperbole in a story means you exaggerated the truth. And let's see. Our strip says, the fish that got away was 100-pounder. Now, I don't know how much you weigh, but some of you might be just a little under 100 pounds. If you are, can you imagine a fish being your size? No way. Hyperbole is an example of exaggeration. All right, let's see if that's all that I had. There are a couple of other examples, I think, that are not on our strips. One of them is rhyme, and we know that rhyme is where two or more words have the same ending sounds, okay? Rhyme, time. I'm sure you can come up with a bunch. Rhyme. So that's going to be one of our vocab examples that we don't have a card for. Also, we have an example of imagery. And I love this word because imagery is just what it sounds like. It's language that suggests how someone or something looks, sounds, feels, smells, or tastes. Imagery. It helps create a mental picture in the reader for your mind as you read it, okay? Imagery creates an image in your mind. So if there's colorful words that paint a picture that you can see in your mind, you know they're using imagery. The last word that we're going to introduce is stanza. And we heard this word when we did our last novel study. We had to write a poem, one stanza long, for Nick in Frindle, okay, about Nick and Frindle. A stanza is a division of a poem, and it consists of a series of lines arranged together, usually in a repeating pattern of rhythm and rhyme, okay? I can't think of one right now. Roses are red, violets are blue. Miss Brown is sweet, and so are you. Okay, that's a good example of a stanza. We're going to be using these elements later as we write our own poetry. But today, I want you to cut out your pocket and your figurative language pocket and glue it to the piece of paper I sent you. And then I want you to cut out all of those vocab elements and put them in your pocket So later on, when you have a question about something, you can refer back to them. We're also doing page 2 today of vocab. So you've got some words on the side and 1 through 10 of what they mean. Put the words in the blank spelled correctly. And that is reading for today. You guys have a wonderful day. Can't wait to get started tomorrow on Love That Dog.